Just to show you how the Torah's emes, it's crooked though, it's okay? The thing? Yeah, fine. Okay. Rabbi say, give a look at Makas Arbe. That's the beginning of the Pasha. Perek Yud, Pasuk Dalet. Ki me'ein ato l'shalech es ami, if you're going to keep on refusing to let my people go, hineni mavi'im achar arbe begulecha. V'chisa es et haaretz. V'lo yuchal, v'chisa et ein haaretz, I'm sorry. V'lo yuchal leros es haaretz. V'achal es es aptei asher sechem min aparat. V'achal et kol ha'etz. Hatzomach lechem min hasodeh. So what will it be eating? Pshuta Shemika, what does it say? Et kol ha'etz. Right? Also, Uncle says, V'yechol yat kol ilana. That means he'll eat the wood. Nachon? Right, Kaveh? Okay, that's Pasuk. Hey, let's see when it happened. What happened? Pasuk Yud Gimel. Okay, we can go straight to Pasuk Tezvav. When the Taka came, Vayichas es ein kol ha'aretz, Vatechshach ha'aretz, Vayochal et kol esav ha'aretz, V'etz kol pri ha'etz, Asher utira barad. It said he ate the fruit of the tree. But it said initially he's going to eat the tree itself. But Lamaisa, when it happened, it wasn't the tree itself, rather the fruit of the tree. Does this ring a bell to anything in your Jewish knowledge? This discrepancy?
Rashis, no?
Yeah, what happened there in Breshis?
Said you should produce
Etz pri, and then what did it do at the end? Etz osepri. The same discrepancy. Oh, wait, so let's give a look over there in Breshis where it happened. It's in Breshis Perek Aleph on Yom Shlishi, right? And what does it say in Pasuk Yud Beis? But that's Pasuk Yud Aleph. Vayomer Elukim, Tacheh haaretz desha esav mazui azera, etz pri. Osa pri lamino. What happened in the next pasuk? Vatotzeh haaretz desha esav mazui azera lamino, ve'etz oisa pri. So what does Rashi say about it? The first Rashi. Meaning in the first pasuk Yud Aleph, etz pri, sheyeh tama etz ketama pri. V'lo staken. Ela vatotzeh haaretz etz oisa pri. V'lo etz pri. So this discrepancy already happened on the first Tuesday of the Bria. Instead of etz pri, it's at oisa pri. B'diyuk, it's being repeated in Makas Arbe. Says David Cohen. I'll tell you why. Because the Maral says in verse Hashem Perek Nun Zayin that the 10 plagues are corresponding to the 10 Mamoras, not according to the order necessarily. Makas Dam is, can I get what? What's Makas Dam? I don't remember now what it was again. Let's go. No. Let's go at the end. Makas Paris is connected Breshis. Right? It's like the Atlat going back. And Makas Dam, no, the first one. What is it connected?
Creation of man.
Maybe the creation of man? It could be. I just don't remember now. I'm going to have to look it up. But he says clearly that Makas Arbe is corresponding to this mimer of Totzah. It's clearly black and white, guys. There's no way. He says black and white. Mimela, so since when the original mimer happened, there was the discrepancy between what was planned and what would happen. Tam Osapri. It's Oisapri. Etz pri, I'm sorry, but it did etz oisapri. So when it comes to Makas Arbe, that's corresponding to that mimer, it goes through the same process again, which is it should eat the etz, but it ate the pri. It's so emes. It's emes lamita. I see. I'm so happy to see the was excited with me also.
Where the astronomer Morris mentioned, is it
What?
Where they listed the astronomer Morris?
In Sefer Bereshis.
No, the Sushta to
in
the
the order
Marcus.
of 10. Where we find it?
It's a Bishop Pekovis. Asar Muslim Roilam. But what are the 10? The Frashim of the Mishnah there.
No, is it not listed in order of Nosim?
It could be.
What's
It could be.
What's the amkus that the source more?
Oh. Very good, very good. Or Chodesh Haggars question. What's the Amkas that the 10 Makas are corresponding to the 10 Mamaras? What does that mean? Makatubazah. Good ha'ara, Ari. But before Adkan is what David Cohen said. My boy said, I wrote to him that it's, I brought it down in the Gvurus Hashem, Perkin Sign, in the Oris. I said, it's pushing. There's no other way to look at it. B'diuk the same discrepancy. There was in the Maimer, that's what happened in the Makkah. L'chalat ha'etz, l'maisav achalat pri ha'etz. Fine. Ask the Rabbi Aryeh Koyen, what's the oimik here? That the Ma'amoros and the Makkos correspond to each other. Because the Makkos Mitzrayim is in the process of the Yitzira of Am Yisrael. And the Yitzira of Am Yisrael is, again, so to speak, the Yitzira of the Bria. The Netziv says so in the Agdama to Sefer Shmois. That Sefer Bereshis and Sefer Shmois, he brings a raya from Chazal, a Medrash, that Sefer Shmois is called Sefer Hasheni. How come the other ones are called Shlishi, Revi'i, Chamishi? But rather, it's the second part of Bereshis. Namely, Bereshis is the Bria of the world, and then the Bria of Yisrael. And the Bria of Am Yisrael is the Bria of the world, because the world was created for Am Yisrael. Mishvil Reishis, Mishvil Yisrael, 100%. That's like if the world was created. So, Mimela Rabbi Yisai, we have to go, so to speak, to revisit the Ten Ma'amaros again, and to make it shaykh to the Bria of Yisrael. And to remember this, I said that the good is that the world was created for Am Yisrael. I think sometimes we forget this. Because we're like only 17 million. And the world is 8 billion. So the whole world was created for us?
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you see this Bechush? The big world outside, but the focus is on Israel. We know, it's written everywhere. Chazal said Kol Hazman. I'm sorry? Open any newspaper. Today nobody opens newspapers anymore. Okay, I guess you mean any news site. What?
And they still print about it.
Yeah, they still print about it. A voice of Dugma, that there was a famine in Mitzrayim. And there was a famine all over. And you see Clarence watch them to bring Yaakov and his children down to Yosef. And like you see Bechosh. That this was all down to get. It's outstanding in the Pashas Miketz in those Pashas over there. That this whole the whole world was in a famine. Why? This has to do with Yaakov and Bonav coming down to Mitzrayim. You see that's how the Torah presents it as well. So it's all over the whole world, but the core of it is Yisrael. And what the Gemara says, whenever there's a tzara in the world, not only pretending Am Yisrael, the Gemara in Yevamos Daf Samach Gimel, that it's a message to Yisrael. And the Chofetz Chaim would say, you know what it means? He said if someone would go to the main square in Warsaw, those days that's what's the busiest town, and stand up there and speak Yiddish, who is he talking to? There's billions of people there, but who understands Yiddish? The Yidden. When there's events happening in the world, who's the only one that understands, has a little bit of understanding what's going on? Only Israel. Only Israel. Right? Important phone call. It's okay? Everything I can say? Okay. Good Rabbi say. Anyway, okay, so the 10 Makkahs, just to bring out this Nakuda of David Cohen. There was Shiva of Chevron that you mamish see, and he quotes the Maharal, pregnant Zion, says, this Zelu Matzeh. They made him whatever happened here, happened there. Okay, Rabbi say. I just want to tell you, Rabbi say, as I'm getting older, maybe you don't see it, but I'm getting older. I'm really two people who are 33 years old. So I'm pretty young. I'm younger than Ari. Anyway, I appreciate more and more as I get older a good heart than a good brain. That was, we mentioned David Cohen. He is a Cohen. He's a tzad. But you know how come he's so popular and reaching the top already at such a young age? He's such a nice person. He's a tremendous Baal Midas. I know him when he was still a bacher. When they called him Dudu Cohen. Before he got married to a Mendel Farber's daughter. I know him from a man. He's just a zisser, a gutter. And I think that counts a lot more. Grani is also a Goin. But that's not the Kuda. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. So we're going to go from the beginning to the end. This is the Kuda of the Makkah and bringing out the Sisoid. Now, Rabbi Yisai, let's go now to the last part of the Pasha, when we're speaking about the Arba Banim. So Rabbi says, how many Banim are there? 4. How many are mentioned in this week's Pasha? Okay, let's see.
3.
Which 3? Who's not mentioned in this week's Pasha? Where's the Chacham mentioned? Very good. And who's mentioned in this week's Pasha? The Rasha, the Einoi Deishol, and the Tam. Where are they mentioned? Let's give a look over side. And Perek Yud Beis. No, Perek Yud Beis though. Let's know Perek Yud Beis. Perek Yud Beis Pasuk Kavav. Vaya ki yamru alechem b'nechem ma ha'avoda azo eslachem. And we know this is the Rasha. Lachem v'lo lo. Okay? We're going to see soon. Ma ha'avoda azo eslachem. ואמרתם זה בפסוק להשם אשר פסח על בתי בני ישראל במצרים בין הגבורת מצרים את בתינו הציל ויקוד העם וישתחו. We'll see soon Rashi says this is speaking about the Ben Rasha. As we know, lachem v'lo lo. What does it say? Vayikod ha'am. Look what Rashi says. Absor Geula, Upsor Zot, Upsor Zabanim. Rashi Pasuk of Zayin. It's a Ben Rasha. It's called a good Psor even though he's a Rasha? Absolutely. That's what you see. Hagam, this is speaking about a Ben Rasha. Ma ha'avodah zis lachem. Lefi shoitzi zatzu min haklal. We're speaking about someone that is not something to be really so proud of. And yet, what vayikod ha'am, absur sagula, ubiyas ha'aretz, ubsuras habanim shiyu lahem. They're going to have children. Hi, Eretz HaRasha. So, Michal, what would you say as someone who's oisek in chinuch for so many years? What's up shot Psuras Habanim and it's a Rasha? What?
It's divinely ordained.
Meaning, so even Banim Rishayim, first of all, even if they're Banim Rishayim Chas v'Shalom, inside there's always this Pentaliyid, and they're going to come back one day. Be'ezer Hashem. But just to remember, Vayikod ha'am v'yishtoch al Psuras Habanim, it was said by Ben Rasha. What?
The grandchildren of Esav and Yaakov, no? We'll be learning together.
Esav and Yaakov together?
No, they're great-great-grandchildren.
They were Rabbi Natinonus. Yeah? Nachon? Nachon? Good? Now, where does it say that it's speaking about Ben Rasha? Here Rashi doesn't say it rather. But let's go now to Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk Zayin. Makadu Shema. Pasuk Ches, I'm sorry.
Rashi says they bow down for 3 things, yeah?
What?
Rashi says 3 things they bow down for. The second 2, I understand. The first one, Geula, they already knew they were going out.
The Psur of the Gula.
But it's not the first time they were told.
Okay. I don't know if that's the Kasha. Every time you hear there'll be a Gula, you're very happy?
Sounds like each one they bow down for, each of these 3. It's like,
Yeah. Why not? How come it's not the first time in a Chinami? But I guess first they see it's going to be mamish eminent. Yeah. Let's see Pasuk Ches. So by Sefer Gimel, V'ikata l'bincha b'yamu le'imor, ba'avur ze asa Hashem li b'tzeis mitzrayim. So everybody say, maybe before we're going to see the Rashi, let's think for a second. There's 4 sons. How many answers are there? 3. Who are the 2 that get the same answer? Where do you know that from? This pasuk. This pasuk. And you read that other. You quote this pasuk. Give a look at Rashi. V'yigata lebincha b'yom ha'hu le'imor, ba'avur ze asa Hashem li b'tzeis mitzrayim. Look at Rashi pasuk Ches. בעבור זה, בעבור שקיים מצווי סוף. כהן פסח מצה אומר הללו. עשה השם לי רמז תשובה לבן ראשה. לומר, עשה השם לי ולא לך. שאילו היה שם, לא היה כדאי להיגאל. Okay? Very good. And now, where's the next time it says a son? And Pasuk Yudalet. Vaya ki yishalcha bincha machar le'emor. Ma zois. Says Rashi. Here Rashi sums it up. And Pasuk Yudalet. Ki yishalcha bincha machar. Yesh machar shu achshav. Yesh machar shu lachar zman. כגון ומחר יאמרו בניכם. meaning, מה זו? זה תינוק טיפש, שאינו יודע להעמיק שאלתו וסותם ושואל מה זאת. ובמקום אחר הוא אומר, וסויסחנון, מה הייתם שוחקים במשפטים? הריס הוא שאלת בית חכם. דיבר תר כנגד 4 בנים, תם, רשע, ושאינו יודע לשאול, והשואל דרך חכמה. אוקיי?
You got Tom in your book. My Rashi didn't say the word Tom.
So what's it say?
I said, as a Shelis from Chacham, did return to the Abu Bonim, then just as Rosh Hashanah in initial. Doesn't say Tom.
So what are the 4?
I don't know. I'm just telling what my Gersa says here. It's got wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's the art scroll.
Okay.
It's
Good.
the Torah.
Where did Rashi say Lehega that was speaking about Ben She'eino Yodea Lishol? No, that's a Tom. Zatin of Tipesh. That's called a Tom. She'eino Yodea La'amik. But where is She'eino Yodea Lishol? No. Yeah. The Rashi in Pasuk, the Rashi in the end of Pasuk Hey. What's the Rashi say at the end of Pasuk Hey? ולמה חזר ושנה, וישתדובה שנשחק לשמוע, הפרשה ישון למה והיה כי אמרו לכם בניכם מה עבוד יסוס לכם, בבן רשע הכוסם מדבר, שהוציא עצמו מן הכלל. וכאן והגלת לבנך, בבן שאינו יודע לשאול. והכוסם למדך שתפתח לו אתה בדברי אגדה, המוישך מסלב. Okay? Good. But the answer of the Russia and the Eino Yodea Lishol, if you could call it the answer, are the same pasuk. What's up, shop? Why? How come the Russia and the Eino Yodea Lishol put together? The Russia is wicked. Eino Yodea Lishol, I don't know if he's called wicked. So why not Kosh Baruch Hu lump them together? That's the word in English. Lump them together. So there's 2 hezberim that were said on this. Somebody say. The Meshech Chochmah and the Pachad Yitzchak say one hezber, and the Maharal says another hezber. We'll start with the Achronim. The Meshech Chochmah and the Mevutah Zatzal say, you know how come the Russia and the Eino Yodea Lishol are put together in the answer? Because they both are not asking. The Eino Yodea Lishol is not asking Kipshutai. He's not asking. The Russia, when he says, what's the Russia again? And Pasuk Avav. Ma avodas es lachem. It's banter. He's making fun. It's not a real question. He's not seeking an answer. It's being cynical. So both of them are not asking. One's not asking kipshutai. One's not asking. He's talking, but he's not asking either. She'ela comes from the word al. There's a tzimah in here. There's a thirst.
He's mocking.
What?
Mocking is not me.
Yeah, exactly. So if what's the Havana? Different questions bring out different answers. If you ask me what's my name, it's one answer. What's the time? Another answer. Where do you live? Another answer. Different questions bring out different answers. But if there's no questions, so it's a monologue. The monologue's always the same. And that's like they put together. Says Rameir Simcha, I'll prove it to you. Because what does it say in Pasuk Kavav? Very good base. It doesn't say the word Sheila. Look, it doesn't say Sheila. They'll say to you. Masha'enkin, the other children, what does it say? V'yigat bincha ke'enu yodea lishol. V'yaki yishalcha bincha. So it says Sheila. And by the Chukim it also says, Ma edus v'chukim. Right? That's the Pasuk Vayisran. It also says the Sheila. But here it says, Ki yamru lechem lechem. They're just talking. They're not asking. So that's how come they deserve the same kind of treatment. That's what they say. It's a big deher. It's not a sheila. The word sheila means I'm lacking something and I want to answer. What the guide says, what's the difference in Sheila and Bakasha? In Lashon HaKodesh, they're both forms of request. So what's the difference, nevertheless, between Sheila and Bakasha?
Self and others.
Oh, so the guide says, when Esther Malka says, Ki nafshi b'sheilasi v'ami b'vakashasi, so Sheila is for yourself, and Bakasha is for others. That's what the guide says on the spot. Said Rabbi Shapir Zatzal, the first year that I heard from him, when you're asking for your nation, it's also yourself. Yourself means only Al-Bahamas? And your children is also yourself? Yeah, and your cousins? And it's all brothers. It's all for yourself. So what's this chalukah for yourself and for others? Right? Okay? That's what he asked. So he answered that what the God really means is, okay, what the God really... Okay. He answered, what the God really means is that Esther Malka told Achashverosh, I want the Jewish people to live for two reasons. Subjectively, that's what it means, self. It's me. Me means also my people, not just me. Me means not only my Albamas, the Klal Yisrael are me. And also, objectively speaking, Am Yisrael has to live. Achashverosh, you're not going to live if Am Yisrael won't be alive. The world won't exist. So she's telling Achashverosh, I want the Jewish people to live for two reasons. I have invested interest, subjective, and that's called She'ilah. And then Bakasha is, forget about me, objectively speaking. That's what he wanted to explain. Then he went on going to explain that the word She'ilah means I have a need that I want there to be addressed. There's something lacking by me, and I want it to be addressed. And then he connected to the shomer that's called Shoyel. How do you think he connected it? Well, Shoyel, is he asking any questions? The shomer? What is he doing?
You need something.
What?
You need something.
It's only that, but the thing is not his. He needs it though. So the he's showing a bicycle from his fellow friend. What does it mean? There's a need that's being addressed. Shoel is, and he said that's come the word al. I remember it very clearly because it was the first year that I saw something like that. The word sha'al has it in the word al. And what does al mean? Alek. Al tilech, al tavo, right? And that's what the word she'ilah means. And he said in the beginning of this year, I remember it in his home, still when he lived in Beit Vagan 96, the top floor, and I had a kasha to ask. But then he was in his 40s, and it was very, very scary. And if you asked a question, I already saw in that little chair already, if you ask a question that's a little bit off, achas dinoi. He thought that's part of the chinuch. And I just came the first year, so I'm going to ask the questions already. So I didn't ask. 45 minutes later, when the shir is about to be finished, I mustered the courage and I asked him a question. And he said, you're asking what we said a long time? I said, yeah. I said, the Rav explained that she'ela means a lack. Yeah? How could you say that on HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Ma Hashem Elokecha shoel mimach. Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu lacking anything? That's the question I asked him. And he was silent for 30 seconds, which is a lot. You know, in the oilam, 30 seconds is a lot. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's probably now just thinking which Mises Basin to give him. Is it Skila, Sreifa? There's a variety of Mises Basin. You couldn't wait till the end of this year to ask the question. You had to jump up and ask the kasha. Magia lecha. Whatever he's going to give to you, magia lecha. After 30 seconds that he's quiet, he said, Sheila Tova. I don't know if he meant the pun. Sheila Tova. And then he told me something more. He says that the Gemara learns from that very pasuk, right? Kol b'idei Shemaim, chutz miyas Shemaim. That's what the Gemara learns. You know what it means? So to speak, he said it like 10 times, but so to speak, Hashem is lacking your Yiras Shemaim. He doesn't have your Yiras Shemaim. Kib yochel. And if it would have said, Ma Hashem Elokecha mevakesh mimach, the Gemara would have not dashed what it dashed. That's what he told me. Because it says shoyel, and shoyel means I'm lacking something, so to speak, a need. What, because Baruch has needs? Kibyochol, hakol b'dei Shemaim, chutz miras Shemaim. Your Yeras Shemaim, so to speak, he needs. That's what he told me. Murdik. And then he was saying on, he went on to explain that once he was sitting next to a maskil in the bus. And the maskil, maskil means a oibel chacham. And he asked them, he quoted Lashon Gemara, Ma yahanu leRabbanan? Who needs so many rabbis? All the time, who needs them? Well, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, that's called the Apikoros. Ma yahanu leRabbanan. So he started quoting Gemaras. So the maskil said, no, of course Chazal are going to say that they're important. As we said, bring me a raya from the Tanakh that if one learns Torah, it's beneficial for others.
So the Gemara says because Avraham Avinu said if in yesh 50 tzadikim b'tzorach ha'ir, then the nasosi l'chalamot v'avraham.
So how's it true that learning Torah helps others?
You see that if a person acts correctly,
No, but that's something. He's focusing specifically on learning Torah. On learning Torah.
Well, yeah, but the Gemara actually does say that as a proof to respond to those who say Ma'ahanu L'Rabbanan.
Not that I recall. You sure it's in the Gemara Sanhedrin?
Yeah.
They quote this pasuk?
Yes.
Okay, and also okay, we'll look it up. We'll look it up. And if Rabbi Yomin's right, and he probably is, Kedarkoi, but we'll look it up. But now, so let's go on, just to finish this Nakuda. So he said, do you believe in the Tanakh? He said, yes. Do you accept the Dikduk of the Goyen? He said, yes. We'll look it up later. Rabbi Yomin, we'll look it up later. We'll look it up later. The Maskilim were very into Dikduk. You know that? Because they thought they could knock because the Talmidei Chacham were not into Dikduk. So they had a special Indian to go into Dikduk. So he asked this Maskil, are you Makabel the Dikduk of the Goyen? He said yes. So he told him the Goyen Kipshutai, that Bakasha is for others and Sheila is for yourself. When David HaMelech is sitting to learn Torah, he says, Achas sho'alti mes Hashem oisa vakish, shivnes Hashem goy mechayai. He said Sheila, that means it's good for himself, and Bakasha, that's good for others. So you see that learning Torah helps others. That's what Moshe told him. That's what he said in that share. Remember, I asked him a while after this, no, did the Maskil, was it crazy with Tshuva? Nah. Okay. So Rabbi David says the Gemara in Sanhedrin quotes this pasuk. Okay, good. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. So what does Sheila mean, guys? Sheila means I'm lacking something. It's a thirst. Please give me an answer. The Russia doesn't say Chishalu. He's not asking. That's what Meshach Chacham the Pachad Yitzchak answer. So there's really two children who are not asking. One Kipshutai and one mocking and making fun. So he's also not asking. That's how come they get the same answer. That's how come the Torah put them together. That's what they say. The Maha says a Moitiki Yisod Chavre. You know how come they put together? Because the achrayus of the father is to find out why his son is not asking questions. He's sitting there quiet in the Leil HaSeder. Find out why. Why is he quiet? Why isn't he talking? It could be one of two reasons. It could be he's a quiet person. Fine. But it could be he's not talking because he doesn't care. And he's a Russia. And then he says, are you sorry? There's no din to ladun l'kav zchus, a father and his children. Let's go into a little bit this side. We're supposed to give each other the benefit of the doubt, but tzedek tishpat tamitecha, right? Not with the father and children. How do you understand that, Rabbi Zay? A father always has to be choshesh. No, my son's okay. Could be, but check. Double check. There's no din l'kav zchus, a father with his children. He's not saying that you have to always think ladun l'kav choiva, but look into it. Check out. With other people, you can give them the benefit of the doubt. B'li shum safek, not with your own children. I think you said what we're saying.
What's the source of that?
So you think about it, you tell me, guys, what's the swara? Rabbi say it's push it.
You can't be mechanech your children.
What?
You can't be mechanech your children if you always tell them to
So meaning push it, it's exera, so to speak. If you always done a kafschus, you can't mechanech them. But I think Michal, what you're saying is right. Just knock at the hair. What happens if a doctor gets the results of a blood test of a patient, and the results are questionable? They could be it's fine. It could be it's not so fine. What will be if the doctor will say, "Oh, I'm giving my patient the benefit of the doubt"? What would you say? You know, the results are questionable. It could be it's fine. It could be it's not fine. It's fine. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Could a doctor do that? No. Why not? Think about it. Why not?
It's his
Because you
job.
don't know.
No, it's his job
But
to
the
find
benefit of
out.
the doubt is always what you don't know.
No, but his job is to find out.
What?
His job is to find out.
What does that mean? Let's define it.
To save him, you can't. Yes, to save
Well,
him.
if only turned out to be that the blood test could have been, and he'll be called negligence. It's called malpractice, whatever it's called, he'll be sued. Why can't it say I'm done with kafschos? You give someone the benefit of the doubt. Lama no. Rabbi say you feel it, but define it. You know, you could answer, well, it's not because he's bad or not bad. It's a question of health. He's not to blame. But let's say it has to do with that. He's not eating healthy food. The blood test is showing that maybe he's not eating healthy food and that sort of stuff, or it's fine. So meaning it could be he's misbehaving. I give him the benefit of the doubt. Why can't you say that?
Whose benefit is it?
What?
Whose benefit is it?
Who's benefit? Oh, let's say this thing with you. So whatever it is.
There's no benefit to the child if he's bad.
And when Laduna Kafschus says the enepit between people.
I'm not afraid to.
Oh, so here that's the nakuda.
They'll be held accountable.
When you're achroi, you got to rule out everything. When it's achrayas, you got to make sure that that it's okay. Achrayas means that it's your responsibility to look into it. That's what it means, achrayas. And if you see your son is behaving in a questionable way, look into it. Like a doctor has to look into it.
Diagnosis.
What?
A diagnosis.
A diagnosis.
Diagnosis.
Exactly. Based on when it's your fellow friend that you're not as mechanech, you're not as fine. So the halacha is that give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to achrayas, then you got to make sure that everything's okay. You can't just say I'm giving benefit of the doubt. Achrayas and benefit of the doubt don't go together. So Mimela, when the son is quiet, check out why is he quiet. It could be it's a red light. Maybe he's quiet because he doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, he's in Russia. So that's the Kamakosh Baruch put the Russia with the Shein Only Then Yishol together to tell the father, be choishes, and maybe it's in Russia. That's what the Mal learns.
What's that, Maharal?
You there?
Yeah?
Yeah? Yeah. If you don't find it, I'll show you. Rabbi said, it says, what reminds me when I asked Rav Hutner Zatzal, I then was in Shidduchim. I'm sure I shared it with the Olam. But like, just what kind of going it was. I was mamish beginning, and I wasn't even speaking about anybody specific. I just asked him generally, a quiet girl, is it good for the Jews or bad for the Jews? You go out on a shidduch and she's quiet. Is that good or bad? Chazal very much praise shtika. Right? Dibu b'sela shtika betrei lo matzati leguf tov shtika. You go out with a girl and she's on the quiet side. Ma'adin. What would other people answer? Well, it depends for whom. For you, yes. For you, no. Double check that she's really quiet. Maybe she was just bashful. You know, those kind of things. You know what he told me? What the Ral says here. Check out why she's quiet. If she's quiet because she's reserved, that's a tremendous mila, he told me. Mila atzuma. And that's the shtika that Chazal talking about. Reserved, holding back. But if she's quiet because she's dead, that was his lashon. Because she meant that. That's a concern. And then he knocked on the wall behind him and said, the wall's also very quiet. You know how come the wall's very quiet? Because it's dead. So find out where this where this silence is coming from. Is it not Mashu? Isn't that pearls of wisdom coming out of someone? Check out where the silence is coming from. But there's two kinds of silences, you'll see. There's the people that are koivish nevuasai, and they're holding in, which is a big mila. And people, nothing interests them, so they're quiet. You know what's the name of Malach HaMavis? What's his name? Duma. He's very quiet. Death is personified through silence. What? Yeah, but how you see death? Lo yodei duma, right? Lo yodei duma. A person's called Chai Medaber. We call him Medaber. It's Chai Medaber. It's a chiyus. Vayadam lenefesh chaya ruach mamalala. Dibur is chiyus. Shtika sometimes means misa. Not always, but sometimes misa. Isn't that an expression? He's quiet like a cemetery.
Quiet is the grave. Quiet is the
The expression is dead quiet.
Dead quiet. Very good book.
Now, how does that man that sits in through Malach HaMavis, through Satan, through Yetzirah, that it's called Duma? Because don't let the Yetzirah's Duma, is he? He keeps that Duma.
No, so he functions in different ways, but they all have the same goal. That's what it means.
You see, quiet is the grave.
The goal is to bring to your head there.
You can't call the Yetzirah Duma.
No. Very not so.
Quiet is the grave.
But right, the Malach HaMavis is called Duma. Dibur is chiyus. Okay, Rabbi Yisai.
It's his thing.
What?
On page Rishon on base.
Yeah. You want to read the Lashon?
Quiet is the grave goes.
ועד נראה כי כל אב אין לו להרוס לבנו, כי הוא מחזיק אותו כצדיק ועולה ועשו, הבן הזה שאינו שואל, אם הוא היה הטוב הזה שאינו שואל בשביל שאינו חושש למצוות השם יזברך,
Maybe he's quiet because Eino Choishish Lemitzvahs Hashem Yisbarach. Yes.
ואינו מקפיד על המצווה, ולכך אינו שואל, הוא ראש הגמור,
Or Rosh Hashanah.
שאינו חושש למצוות בירה. לפיכך therefore יאמר לבנו, שאם אינו שואל בשביל שאינו חושש למצוות בירה, אינו רואה לגאולה. וזה היה מוסר לבנו
Musa. So I have Musa Lebno.
וזה היה מוסר לבנו שיהיה ירא אלוקים, וידקדק במצוות בירה, וישאל עליה. מכל מקום למדנו תשובה לבן הראשו.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. But first, bring me right to this Yisod that which Rabbi Yomi read, which is, if you don't care, the difference between a tzaddik and a rasha is a rasha doesn't care. That's the difference. You know what's the raya? What?
It's so empowering. And I've been that
Copy what?
when the pyramid Xeris and some
Yeah.
opposed, some ran away. So
So what do you see? How do you see it there?
but keeping quiet is
Okay. Rabbi said, give a look at the end of Parshas Vayera. These Parshas. What happened over there with Makas Barad? Give a look. Give a look in Perek Tes, Pasuk Chaf and Kaf Aleph. Mamish black and white. Perek Tes, Pasuk Chaf and Kaf Aleph. Pasuk Chaf. Hayareh. Okay, on page Kuf Pevav. Hayareh Tvar Hashem mi'avdei Paro. The one who was afraid of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, he nisat avodav et mikneo le'apatim. So the Yerei Shamayim put them in the house. V'asher lo sam libo al Dvar Hashem. So what's the opposite of Yerei Shamayim? Lo sam libo. He doesn't care. The Bali Musa quote this pasuk. That Eina Yerei Shamayim is not someone who's a monster and actively. He just doesn't care. Vasher lo sam libo al Dvar Hashem. Pashat. Lo sam libo. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. One more lesson good for tonight. But this is a big yisod. It's not that you should always suspect that your children are doing bad. That's not what the mom's saying. Well, why shouldn't you? But you always have to suspect that maybe it's bad and look into it. Check into it. You're getting signs that could be interpreted as so look into it. Like a doctor has to look into it. Rabbi said, yeah, I must tell you, it comes to my mind. It happens to me so many times in my job in the mornings that years ago, today's already smartphones, but I would ask if I see someone's like out of it. So I would ask the father, does your son have a computer in his room? You remember those days? That's how it worked. Does he have a computer in his room? Yeah. Does he have access to internet? Yeah. Is it filtered? No. Why not? I trust my son. That's exactly what the Mahar's coming to say not to do. I trust my son. I told him, Chazal don't trust you. They're not trust their eyes. So your son? And again, if it would have been a health, physical hazard, it could be chasam, this could cause a terrible disease, it could be it won't. I trust my son. You would say that. Okay, Rabbi Say. Now let's go one more time to the sugi that we know very well, just to bring out the nekuda that I don't remember if we spoke about it or not. What does it say? That they took the Korban Pesach 4 days in advance. Nachon? Right? Perigid Beis Pasuk Vav. Perigid Beis Pasuk Vav. Vaya lachem lemishmeres ad 14 yom lechodesh hazeh. Right? What does Rashi say in Pasuk Vav? Vaya lachem lemishmeres the loshen biku. Again, what does biku mean, Chavre? Not to visit, to check. Biku choni, by the way, means also not to visit. There's no word in Lashon HaKodesh for visit. That's the emes. Biku choni means to check what the chayla needs. What? Pokad. I don't think so. The what? לא חושב. זהו לשון ביקו, שטון ביקו ממום 40 קודם שחיטה. It says Rashi, ומפנימה הקדים לקיחוס לשחיטוס 4 ימים. Meaning, you always check mumim 4 days in advance. That's a Gemara Pesachim. But why do you have to become a member of the animal 4 days in advance? מה שלא ציווה כבפסח דורס. היה באתי בן חודש אומר, הרי אומר, ועבור אלייך וערך, והנה איתך אס דודים. דודים, I'm sorry. הגיע השבוע שנשבעתי לאברהם שגל עזבוניו, ולא היה ביוד המצו לססם גם כדי שגלו. Even though there's a shvua, but there has to be something happening now. Right? They had to be involved in something positive for the gula to happen. Like, the bracha in the shemen with the Navi there, Elisha, Elio, there had to be a little bit shemen, and then there'll be a bracha on it. What was it? Elisha. Shenema va'at erom ve'erya. ונתן להם 2 מצוות, דם פסח ודם מילה. שמלו באויס הלילה, שנאמר מבוססת בדמייך, in the plural, בשני דמים. Good. זה מה שכתוב. So, Am Yisrael did that night. So, how does Rashi answer this question? So, why did he give us the mitzvahs 4 days in advance? That we should be engaged already with some kind of form of doing a mitzvah. Okay. The Maharal explains on the spot, a beautiful Maharal, on the spot here, on this Rashi. Why dafka these 2 mitzvahs? Mila and Pesach. You remember we spoke about it? Remember what the Maharal says? About Eved Ovid. Very good. That you have to be, the Gavra, you have to be what you are and what you do. You have to be an Eved Hashem, but then you have to offer a service. It's not enough that you're Eved Hashem only by name. And therefore, the bris milah is al brischa shechasamdu b'sorenu. It's a choisem avdus. Fine, I'm a servant. But what do you do as a servant? What do? You got to do a service, and that's Korban Pesach. And that's Korban Pesach is the only korban in the Torah which is called avoida stam. Va'avata ta'asa avoida azois. Ma avoida zisachem. There's no any other single mitzvah which is called avoida on its own. Tefillah is called avoida shebalev. All avodas Hashem could be called avodah, but to take one mitzvah out of Taryag and say avodah, the only one is Korban Pesach. Why? Because that made us being Avdei Hashem. It gave us our total identity. Where else do you see that these 2 are chavrusa? No, that's already at stage 8. But at stage 1, a Mishnah. The only 2 that have a chiv chorus. And the creases, and the Gemara increases the 36 creases. 34 are given if a person Chas V'Shalom does 34 are given on a lav. He went and he ate matzah. He ate chelev. He went and ate. 2 The Mishnah says, you don't do anything. He doesn't do anything, he's Chayav Misa. He just didn't eat a Korban Pesach, and he didn't do Bris Milah. He's Chayav Kares. What's up, Shabbat Boy say? By not doing anything, you're Chayav Kares? Not you, but a person's Chayav Kares? How do you understand that?
Built in others.
He didn't do anything. So he deserves to die with not doing Lav Shebo Maaseh. What? It's about, I mean, these are the things of your identity. If you don't become a member every year in Haggard's, you're not a member. You're not a member. You gotta activate your membership. Renew. That's the word. You gotta renew it. If you don't renew it, Mimela, you're not. And okay. So that's how these two go together. So we say, I always had a kasha, Ala Yoren. The Torah doesn't mention a word about the Bris Milah. Do you know that even most people are not even aware they did a Milah that night? Revis, ask on the Lelos and you'll see. Most people are not even aware of it. What, they did a Bris Milah? At night? How can you do a Milah at night? Umal boys have. Even a Milah of a ger can be only done in the day. It's in Ron Yavamas. So that's question number one. And they did a Milah, so how'd they come out that night? They did a Milah a few hours earlier. And they all came out the next morning? How? What, a special nest they all got healed? Fine, where's that nest mentioned?
But Omer, I looked into it once, but Omer Lo, but Omai.
It's a pasuk in Yechezkel. But Damai is Lashon Rabim.
Yeah.
But in the Torah it says nothing.
Yeah.
And even in Yechezkel it's a Ribui, Lashon Ribui. So without the moral, it's not such a kasha. The Torah doesn't mention everything. Why the Torah mentions some things, it doesn't mention other things, I don't know. But that's a fact. The Torah doesn't mention everything. It's not such a terrible kasha. That's right. But according to Maharal, these are two sides of the same coin. And one without the other is not enough. And he explains, doing Korban Pesach without a Milah, it's a one-time thing you did. It's not enough. And if you do a Milah without a Korban Pesach, you're an Eved, but you're not to be Ovid. You got to do something. You know, like Nebuchadnezzar, they're very proud they're Jewish. And then, you can't ask them, but what do you do as a Jew? Nothing. They're very proud I'm Jewish. It's a chasar. Right? Culture. Nachon. So how come the Torah omitted the Bris Milah if it plays such an important role, and Korban Pesach without it is chasar? According to the Maharal, it's a Kushya Tzuma. He says they're two intertwined with each other, and the verse of Hashem gives another like 3-4 explanations for it. That the two are a chavrusa that form together the Yiddish identity. And the Maharal goes on saying, in the Gemara, that night we became Avdei Hashem in full. We became an Eved Oived, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim. Which is again another beautiful Kiddush, because everybody understands it's the other way around. Since we came out of Mitzrayim, we became Avdei Hashem. That's the normal way of understanding it. That's the Ramban says in the Sefer Dibros. Anochi Hashem Lokecha, I took you out of Mitzrayim. You owe me something. Now be my Eved Hashem. You were before Avdei Paro. Now be my Eved instead. According to Maharal, it's almost the other way around. Because that night we became Avdei Hashem in Egyptian soil. We did a Korban Pesach, we did a Bris Milah. We became Avdei Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Paro, get your hands off my Avadim. They're mine. Avadim. I remember I said this over once to Moshe Shapiro Zatzal, and he had a lot of anah. He says, it's a nachon mod. According to Maharal, that's how it works. It's the other way around. We first became Avdei Hashem on that night before the Yitziah. Through these two, Dam Pesach, Dam Milah, and as a result, right, you see over there, Rabbi Yomi says, Avodayim v'lo avodim l'avodim. Dam Pesach, Dam Milah. Okay, it's over there. And we became Avdei Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Paro, hey, they're mine. Don't start up with my Avodim.
And Bris was not done in the whole 400 years.
I'm sorry?
Bris was always done.
No, it was instead of Mitzrayim, they stopped doing it in Mitzrayim. Not 400 years, they were there 210 years.
220 years.
But probably in the beginning they still did. But at the end it says they stopped doing the Milah. That's refers to the Medrash.
The Chol Arei Lo Yechal Ba is not mentioned in Bris.
It's Al Korban Pesach.
You need to have that done first.
But maybe they did a Bris Milah before, I don't know. I don't know. They were mal that night to become Avdei Hashem. How could the Torah omit something so important? What would you say, Abu Isa? The Torah is saying half a story. A half, which is not enough. because half is not enough.
Is that not the Vayas after that parsha where it says Kol Bnei Yechel Yechel? The pasuk goes back Vayasu Kol Bnei Yisrael Hashem Hashem.
So it's, again, but that's outside the Korban Pesach part. According to the Maral, it's not because of Korban Pesach, it's because to become Eved Hashem. Again, it says that they should. It's not ahead yet that night they did Bris Milah. Zelo Katuv. But the Mai Chayim, what the Navi Yecheskel says, the two bloods, the Torah mentioned only one blood in length. The Korban Pesach one is mentioned in about 20 psukim. The Bris Milah one, not one word. And also in Yecheskel, it's the extra yud. But the Mai Chayim. What's Mapshat? What were you saying? What were you saying? This year I got a gewaltige teretz, but I'm not saying. I'm just kidding. I don't think I'll have time to say Bemis. Did we ever speak about this, Kasha?
Is it the Maisamina or is it being mold?
Oh. I'm going to say in a nutshell. In every bris, there's two aspects. There's the Maisamila. Where does this whole sugya start? This whole sugya starts with what we know, that there's a pasuk that a mother doesn't have to mal her son. In fact, the Gemara Kiddush Nafkav Tesam Alf asks her, says it's a mitzvah says Shazman Grama. It's only on the 8th day. It's only in day and not at night. So of course a mother's potter to mal her son. Why do you need a pasuk? Tosh's kasha. Tosh's answer is that from the 8th day onwards you can do any day, and there's one Manda Omer that says if it's Bismillah Shalom Bismano you can do it also at night. We don't pass like that halacha. That's what Tosh says. There's many answers to this kasha. One of them is the Marach Ozerah, that the Marit quotes it over there in Kiddushin. You know what he says? It says in the Gemara Menachos that when David HaMelech was standing in the shower, and he said, I'm not doing any mitzvahs now. It's terrible. But then he saw the Bismillah and he, Nachadato. When he was Nachadato, they did a milah to him 65 years ago. So also that you put tefillin on that morning. Your head put on tefillin that morning. That's how the Stapler asked the question. Elamah, because he's mohol. So in every bris milah, there's two mitzvahs: the maisa, lamul, and to be mohol. Gemal, right? Every milah, that's what it is. Says the Marit over there that since the mitzvah of mohol is constant, it's every day of your life. David HaMelech was happy when he was in the shower. That element is a mitzvah Esther Shalaz Van Grama. I might have thought that a mother has to do a bris milah for her son for that element. Now, when it comes to that night in Yetzias Mitzrayim, every bris has these two elements: the Maisa Lamul V'Liot Nimon. On that night, it was only to be normal, Liyos Mahul. Why? Because the Maisa element was by Korban Pesach. What role did the Korban Pesach play? What, that you have to do a service. There's no need anymore to be done with a deed. The deeds are covered by the Korban Pesach. So the milah is done outs vas, not outs the Ma'aseh Shabo. Get that Korban Pesach took care of. Outs the Mol Shabo. The Mol Shabo that you can do also at night.
And that's why it's not mentioned, because it's more.
It's a tetzah. It's not a deed. It's in Mimela the Gezach. Right. That's what I want to say.
The Tinnik does Mila Balayla.
What?
The baby does a Mila Balayla. Does he have to do again a Mila?
Hatufas dam, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Also no
A regular baby, yeah, because you need a Maisa. But on that night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, we didn't need the Maisa.
they did after the Meister?
No, there's no need.
No, I'm saying they did
saying
after
those
the
What?
Did they do the mitzvahs Mila again?
No.
Not two.
That's it.
But they want Mekayim by night.
Again, because on that night, I didn't need the Maisa Shabbat.
Yeah, but saying
What?
They didn't have to do the Maisamina, they weren't Mitzvah problem.
They weren't?
They hadn't had it Tzivah yet, because it was before Matan Torah. So they just needed to be more.
So why do they have to be
I'm
Mahul?
asking if they did the risk by night and there's a
Right.
Meister, then they should need to do it again.
But on
They-
that-
they
but on
didn't
that
need to. They didn't need to. They had to be more. There wasn't a Tzivah of doing the risk.
That's Korban Pesach.
Why do they have to be Mahul? Where did that come from?
Already in the Yochel.
Okay, so it's not Shavasa. But okay, we can say says that's a couple of doesn't mention it. It's a mimela to Kazakh. If it's mimela, you don't mention it. But every bris milah otherwise has the two elements in it. You know the whole in every bris milah. I'm sure you heard these three dinim, right? Ma'aser milah and to be the tetzah of the milah. Okay, I will say. Okay, I want to wish everybody. It should be a good week for Am Yisrael. You know what I have in mind in these days in Tefillah? I think a good pasuk. There's so much pain in Eretz Yisrael, right? What's happening? So, to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Simcha la'artzecha v'saso le'yerecha v'sikva toiva l'dorshecha u'pischon per l'me'achim lach. Flood Eretz Yisrael with Simcha. Give all the Yidden there, please, a good reason to be happy. Shvat is Rosh Teres, Shenizbaser, Psuras, Toivas. Okay, now we have a minyan here?
I'm gonna get a few help.
Put on here.
Okay.